Hello, my dears. Welcome to our YouTube channel. For those of you that do not know me, my name is Madalina Vlad. I'm the CEO of MBV Group, which is a group of companies that is dealing with accounting, setting up of the companies here in Romania, and also attracting European funds. I hope that you will enjoy this video and this will bring you new ideas of how and when, or if it's appropriate to make a business here in Romania, and what to expect when coming here, because it's really important as well to see what you will expect to find here. Stay with me and let's see what this new fiscal change is proposing for those of you that already have the company here, or for those of you that are intending to come here and open a new business. And let's start with number one. Number one on today's agenda, let's say, it's the minimum share capital. I don't know how many of you knew that here in Romania, until 1st of September, the minimum share capital was 1 RON, which is more or less 0.220 euro. Basically, this share capital is the amount for which you will be responsible and the company will be responsible. If something bad happens, this would be the minimum amount that you should pay. But of course, that the government saw that this is a big responsibility for some entrepreneurs, so they decided to change this minimum share capital. And now you will have, since the beginning, 500 RON. So if you want now to set up a company, you will have to put a minimum share capital of 500 RON, which is more or less 100 euro. For those of you that already have a company here in Romania, it's really important to know that you must change this share capital if your turnover is above 400,000 RON, and you need to change it to 5,000 RON. If your turnover is under 400,000 RON, then you don't have to do anything, just to monitorize the turnover to see when it rises, and in the moment that it rises, then you need to change. So you have these three options. Company newly set up, 500 RON the share capital. Company that already exists but has a turnover under 400,000 RON, then you don't have to do anything else, just to monitorize the turnover. And company that has a turnover above 400,000 RON, which means that you need to change the share capital from what you have now up to 5,000 RON, which is 1,000 euro. Do not forget that here in our MBV group, we can help you with doing this, and even you may obtain a discount from us if you do this with our legal department. Another good news is the fact that the threshold for becoming a VAT payer is changed now from 300,000 RON to 395,000 RON. The third measure included in this package would be related to the transfer of the shares of the companies that have debts to public or here to our government. What does this mean? Means that if someone is proposing you to take over their companies and they have debt, you cannot do this anymore. Or if you accumulated debt here in Romania and you want to transfer the shares, because until September it was possible, then again you cannot do this until you pay all your debts to local government. The fourth measure that is really important to have it into consideration is of those of you that are having a company here in Romania that you do not use. It's really, really important to deregistrate it faster, and the government is proposing a new procedure for dissolving and deregistration of these kind of companies because they do not function, and it's important not to keep them to give work to local governments. So they said that for inactive companies, for example, and you become inactive when you don't have a social headquarter here in Romania, or when you forgot to submit the declarations multiple quarters in a row, then you will be declared inactive. So for those of you that have a company which is inactive, now is a good news because you can deregistrate it a little bit faster. And now comes the cherry on the cake. Distribution of dividends. Now we have some restrictions in distribution of the dividends, but they are not so bad. Just that we need to check constantly in accounting to see if it's okay or not. The first restriction would be that if you have net assets lower than 50% of the share capital, then you cannot distribute dividends until you resolve the problem with the net assets. So, in this case, the distribution of the dividends becomes or has conditions that refers to the establishment of legal reserves, because this is something that your accountants must do here in Romania, covering all the accounting losses from previous years. What does this mean? For example, if the company was set up in 2022 and until 2024 you had a loss. Now in 2025, if you want to distribute dividends but you had the loss, it's really important to cover the loss first and after that to distribute dividends. So basically you need to wait to recover the loss and after that to distribute dividends. And the third condition to distribute dividends would be to constitute all the reserves that are mentioned in the Constitutive Act. It's if something like this is mentioned there. By the way, those of you that are distributing quarterly dividends, interim dividends basically from the profit of this year, you cannot do this, or you cannot do or give loan to the shareholder, let's say, if you did not solve the problems that I already told you before, the covering of the losses if it is the case, and the net assets as well. Of course that this has sanctions as well, because you cannot make a new law without mentioning the sanctions. The highest sanction that you can receive is 5,000 RON. This is related to irregularities related to interim dividends, and of course also for non-regularized loans that you may give to the shareholder. The second sanction, if you may call it like this, that you may receive, it's related to the net assets. If the net assets are under half of the share capital and the company received a loan from the shareholder, then it's mandatory that from that loan you must convert in shares and reunite and remake the net assets in the limit of the law. And the last sanction that is mentioned here related to dividends is like this. If you distributed interim dividends and you did not regularize them until the end of the year, basically you distributed more than the profit, in this case, the companies and the associations are jointly and severally liable for the irregularities. This would be the most important changes that you should take into consideration when coming here in Romania, or when you already have a company, to check and see. There are also some other rules and regulations and that you should take into consideration, and especially if, for example, you don't have a bank account, you should know that starting with 1st of January 2026, this will become mandatory if you do not comply with this, you risk to have the company liquidated. All of you that are dealing with merchandise and have shops, it's really important to know that starting also with 1st of January 2026, you will have to have POS. Basically, you need to allow the people to pay with the card. The taxes for crypto, for those of you that are dealing with cryptocurrencies, are rising from 10% to 16%. The stock market tax may reach up to 6%. And if, for example, you are living here in Romania and you receive a package from a non-EU country, you must know that there is a mandatory tax to be put on, which to be charged by our custom here in Romania, which is 25 RON per package, no matter of the value of the package. In this new fiscal package, also ghost companies are targeted. Basically, if you do not submit the financial statement in the legal term of 5 months, then they will declare you inactive. So be really attentive and talk with your accountant to see if you have your financial statements submitted. And there is another tax that honestly I believe that it will not pass, but it passed with this new package of fiscal measurements. And this refers to bigger companies which have a turnover more than 50 million euro. There is still maintained the tax on income of 1%. So basically, if all of these companies reported loss and not profit, until now, they did not pay anything here in Romania. But from September 2025, they will have to pay the tax on turnover, which is 1%. And related with this, there is another tax on affiliation for companies that have same shareholder in multiple companies, which is also maintained. So basically for big companies, there are two new taxes, tax on affiliates and minimum tax on the turnover. We'll see how it will be applied, because up to this moment, we don't have applications of this law, so I don't know how to explain and how they will intend to put this tax on affiliates. And if you thought that self-employment like PFA will escape of this new fiscal package, unfortunately they didn't. Now, what they did with this PFA rule is that they rose the ceiling for health insurance from 60 minimum salaries to 72 minimum salaries. Initially, they were talking about 90 minimum salaries, but it was a little bit too high, so they keep it at 72 minimum salaries here in Romania. Basically, you'll have to pay 10% of 72 minimum salaries here in Romania if you have a PFA you do your job by this. As you may all think, of course, that this new fiscal package is affecting all of us as entrepreneurs. But as I told you, Romania, it's a good country to invest in, especially because it's growing, it's in developing, and it would be quite harsh to say that, okay, you don't have lower taxes, that means that you don't have to invest in. No, by the contrary, you need to look exactly on the field that you are operating in and to see if there are some facilities, some exemptions, why not, and to see if it's still a good country for you. The main advantage is that here we are lots of English speakers, so we can get along quite easily, and lots of professionals. And it's really, really important to feel comfortable in the country in which you want to invest, because otherwise you may not want to stay in there at all. Of course, that this new package means more cost for those of you that are already living here, or for those of you that already have a company, because you need to update everything to the trade register. You need to put the share capital in the company. Of course that there is a discrimination between small companies and a little bit bigger companies, but this, I believe, it can be everywhere in the world, not only in Romania. I know that there is a pressure on the liquidity that you may have or may intend to have or to rely on when coming here. But what I can tell you is that with this increased discipline and fiscal transparency, everything, it will be much more reliable, everything will be put in order, and all of us will have in the end benefits, and it will not be so scary. What I do recommend you, if you already have a company here in Romania, is to take a close look to the optimization of the structure, which means that you need to see the turnover, if it's under 400,000 RON or above this amount, to see if you need to update the share capital to the trade register, is to seek for tax and legal advice, because there are many of you that are having multiple companies, and it's really important to see if that tax on affiliates and tax on turnover higher than 50 million euro is affecting you or not. And in this case, it's even recommended to work with specialists that can help you doing this. And of course, to explore the possibilities, basically to see if an SRL is still a good option, or you can switch to PFA, because PFA might be a really good option starting with 2026. Basically, this second package of fiscal measurements aimed to discipline the tax fiscality here in Romania, to eliminate the ghost companies, those ones that are not having bank account or do not pay their taxes to local government here, and of course to increase local revenues. So yes, this might be the main idea, but in the end it might be even better for all of us, because all of us needs to adjust and adapt to this new system. And why not? Maybe those of you that are not performant will leave the place for those that are performant. I hope that you liked this video. If you have any type of question, you may put here in the comments, or you may write us on our email office@mbv-tax.ro. For sure, we may help you with everything related with the trade register operations. So if you already have a company here in Romania, or you intend to start one, you may leave us a message and we can help you anytime. Thank you for your attention, and let's see you soon.